Welcome back. Today's discussion is about manufacturing versus blenders of pipe tobacco. What's the difference? So the difference is a manufacturer actually manufacturing the tobacco leaves. They'll take the leaves in from the farmer and prep it, case it, cut it, whatever goes into making a blend. So what's a blender? A blender takes different components and puts them together, blends them together, and makes a blend out of it. I used the word blend 5 times there. Different types of tobaccos: Virginias, Burleys, Perique, Latakia, Orientals, whatever. Different percentage rates blended together, and the top dressing, if that's added, or an alcohol type base like bourbon, rum, stuff like that. The blender is kind of responsible for that. Sometimes they aren't. Okay, sometimes they aren't. So let's take an example of a popular blender. Peretti, Boswell's. So you take these blenders and they blend their own tobacco, but they're not manufacturing it. Okay, so they're buying wholesale from manufacturers, actual companies that produce tobacco, like Cornell and Diehl or Lane or Sutliff. They take those blends and they mix. They might buy straight Latakia, they might buy straight Cavendish, straight Virginia, and they make their own percentages and they have their own blends and they sell them in their shop. So they're not physically producing, they're not buying whole leaf. They don't have, now some of them do have a press. I do believe Peretti has a press. So some shops are a little bit more advanced than others, but your typical tinder boxes and stuff like that, they'll buy wholesale. They'll buy bags of Sutliff and Lane and stuff like that. Or when McClellan was around, McClellan wasn't, was a big wholesaler at the time, and they would be multiple things together, whatever would come up, and whatever transpired in the blender's head and how they wanted the taste to come off in the room note and stuff like that, and they sell in their shop. That's actually old school, the local brick and mortars, and they would have, and sometimes they would just buy a regular blend and just rename it. They would just rename it. Some are like that. It's disguised. And when the internet came out, obviously they wanted to be a little bit more secretive about it. They have a right to do so. But so this debate comes into, what kind of tobacco do you really like smoking? Over the years, I've decided I want to smoke tobaccos from certain companies, certain manufacturers. So certain manufacturers, you want to, over the years, like I said, I honed in what manufacturers I like. I'm sure everybody's wondering which ones they are. Anything from Europe. Anything from Europe, Cornell and Diehl in the States here. That's pretty much it. Anything that, Mark Ryan produces out of Daughters and Ryan also, they're my go-tos, far as, because it's all natural. I like natural products. I don't like all those chemicals and the chemical casings and the spray and all that. Cornell Diehl is more of a natural company. That's why once in a while the mold shows up. Once in a while you will see that. Same thing with European stuff. I've seen mold in Dan Tobacco stuff. I've seen mold in Samuel Gawith stuff. So there's no preservatives. There's no chemicals. And personally, that type of stuff I don't like. It bothers me. So you tend to over the years you develop what type of manufacturer you want to smoke out of. And that's my list. And everybody has their own list, and you have to develop that, what you like, what what you like, what your palate likes. So you have to decide what that is. And there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. You don't have to impress anybody. You just, whatever you like, that's what you smoke, and you levitate towards that. So now my issue is, we see somebody like Peretti, and they sell stuff online, and I don't know what factories they're getting their stuff from, and they have no right to reveal that. So I stay away from it, because I don't know if it's manufacturers, which I don't smoke. So and I develop that type of palate. So take it for what it is. So, and now you have blenders. You also have blenders that work exclusively with certain houses. Okay? Unlike, I keep saying Peretti because he's pretty popular. There's no, I'm not singling him or Boswell out. They're popular. If you take like a Peretti or Boswell, and he might use multiple play. He might be use Lane, Sutliff, and he can use McBaron. And mix all that and make a blend. So, but then, that's the multiple stuff, the house blenders. Then you have somebody like Greg Pease, GLPs. Is a GLPs blend. There's nothing on this, to my knowledge. I don't think there's anything on this tin that says anything about Cornell and Diehl. But he's exclusively pretty much out of Cornell and Diehl. Cornell and Diehl makes his blends. So, and then you have regular Cornell and Diehl, something like this, and they have their own line. So a manufacturer has their own line of blends also, which will be Jeremy would be their blender. So you can have blenders work for manufacturers, and then you have blenders that are standalones that don't have shops, to like Greg Pease, and then you have Peretti that has a shop, and Boswell has a shop. And they blend whatever the recipes are. It doesn't matter. It's secret. It doesn't matter. And they sell it at the shop. And like I said, that's old school. That was before the internet. And that's the way it was. But I like the whole natural type aspect of it. It doesn't bother. There's no mouth irritation. There's none of this overly processed tobacco and gooped up to a point where that's not tobacco. And I'm not getting that tobacco flavor even with aromatics. So I hope that's helped you, and that's all I got, and we'll see you on the next one.